So far this year, Donald Trump has been nuking the crypto market, but it's not for the reasons you think. And while most people have been distracted by Trump's reciprocal tariff news, the vast majority of people do not even realize that he has issued a national emergency. And he just posted something on Truth Social that tells exactly why he is crashing the markets and his true intention that will leave you speechless. With US economic policy uncertainty hitting extreme levels and massive amounts of money flowing out of the stock market, in this video, we're going to discuss what comes next and how you can prepare. If you hold Ripple's XRP, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, even Dogecoin, or virtually any altcoin, it's extremely important to pay attention with what I'm going to share with you over the next few minutes. So comment 777 if you're feeling blessed and bullish regardless of this market pullback. And if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree, as always, tap the subscribe button. Let's run it.
And yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So over the past month, yep, it's looking pretty nasty for the crypto market, but that means opportunity. The real question is, are we going to go lower? Because looking at XRP's price chart on the hourly, sitting at $2.11, and XRP came all the way down to $1.96. This zone of support that we've seen massive buy-side demand ever since the 9th and the 10th of December, where XRP's price has crashed within this zone and has been bought up once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, and now just recently the 7th time. So we are currently still in a downtrend for XRP ever since pretty much the new all-time high that was briefly put in the middle of January. So we've just been forming lower highs, but equal lows. And so what this is for XRP is just simply a descending triangle where we see a series of lower highs, but a flat lower trend line. And if we get rid of the stochastic RSI, the relative strength index, and the MACD and zoom out here, it's very obvious this descending upper trend line ever since the 16th of January has just been pushing XRP closer and closer to this apex here where XRP will need to make a critical move. Because the more times the XRP taps this support right here, the weaker that it gets. And so far we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 points of contact since the 3rd of February. Even this one wicked all the way down here for XRP and then got bought up really quick when Trump first announced major tariffs. And so whether XRP sees a trend continuation to the downside and breaks the flat lower trend line or sees a reversal to the upside will be determined on what I'm going to share with you by the end of this video. So pay close attention. Because Trump posted this on Twitter saying the operation is over. The patient lived and is healing. The prognosis is that the patient will be far stronger, bigger, better, and more resilient than ever before. Make America great again. Now, I thought this was an interesting post here on Twitter from Digital Soldier saying, what if I told you this wasn't about a hospital? What if I told you Trump just gave you the post-op announcement that the silent war is now over? What if I told you that the silent war was waged with military precision, digital warfare, and strategic deception? What this really means is Trump is saying that the psyop is now complete. The patient, which is the republic, lived, and the prognosis, which is America being reborn again. And while a lot of people are freaking out thinking tariffs are the worst thing in the world, yes, in the short term it creates massive volatility and uncertainty, but Trump has a secret plan that is flying over most people's heads because they only look at price action on the chart. Because did you know that Trump declared a national emergency on Liberation Day? And the reason why this is a massive deal is because by declaring a national emergency, Trump unlocks special powers, including the ability to redirect funds, impose sanctions, and regulate commerce more aggressively. This bypasses congressional gridlock, allowing swift action, but also raises concerns about checks and balances. Now, when Grok was asked if this is true, Grok says, yes, this post is true. Trump declared a national emergency on April 2nd related to trade per the U.S. Trade Representative. And as for active emergencies, it's estimated around 51 of them. Now, here's why this is such a big deal in Trump's secret plan.
Trump is crashing the stock market by 20% this month, but he's doing it on purpose. And this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. Now, here's the secret game he's playing, and it could make you rich. So why is he doing this? to push cash into treasuries, which forces the Fed to slash interest rates in May, and those lower rates give the Fed the ability to refinance trillions of debt very inexpensively. It also weakens the dollar and drops mortgage rates. Now, it's a wild chess move, but it's working. Now, you're probably wondering, what about his tariffs? Well, I'll tell you, it's a genius play. It actually forces companies to build here to dodge them. It also forces farmers to sell more of their products here in the US to bring grocery prices way down. We've already seen this with eggs. Now, remember, 94% of all stocks are owned only by 8% of Americans. So Trump, he's taking from the rich short term and handing it to the middle class through lower prices.
And the difference between the wealthy and poor is poor people see crashes as a scary thing, whereas the wealthy get excited because they're able to buy at lower prices. Eric Trump posted this saying, "I wouldn't want to be the last country that tries to negotiate a trade deal with Trump. The first to negotiate will win. The last will absolutely lose. I've seen this movie my entire life." And the reason why his plan actually makes sense is common sense. Think about it. The US national debt is $36 trillion. And in 2025, they will spend about $7 trillion here in US federal spending, whereas they will only collect about $5 trillion in federal tax revenue, spending $2 trillion more than they're collecting. So they need to borrow $2 trillion, and this will increase the debt to $38.6 trillion. So his economic plan has three major points here. Number one is cut expenses through Doge, which they have about 280 billion clocked on here, just by simply targeting waste and fraud, because you guys can see the largest budget items, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, defense and war, interest on debt. There's been a massive mismanagement of money and just too much money spent on people that are over 200 years old just collecting Social Security, which is pretty much impossible unless there's some Guinness World Records that need to be documented here. So by decreasing fraud through Doge, they're able to bridge that gap between the spending and how much money they're collecting. Number two would be tariffs. America will no longer be taken advantage of by every other country on the planet. Because if you look at this right here, for people to say this is crazy, it's not crazy at all, actually. Look at the tariffs charged to the USA from these other countries. Trump is pretty much doing half of what these other countries are charging. Like China charges 67%, whereas the USA discounted the reciprocal tariff to 34%. And every single one of these is pretty much a discounted reciprocal tariff. A few of them are just matching the tariff, which is only fair. And so, yes, some of these countries might try and retaliate, but that would be a stupid chess move for these countries to do. The smartest countries would do exactly what Eric Trump said. They would try to be the first to negotiate a deal, lowering their tariffs on the United States to get the reciprocal tariffs lowered, to have more business and trade flowing in and out of their countries with the United States. And so this is exactly what Trump wants. Because if tariffs increasing, then it economically makes more sense for companies to build factories and farms and businesses again inside of the United States instead of going overseas because of how crazy the import and export percentages are. And number three, the ultimate goal is to get Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. And so he posted this saying it would be the perfect time for the Fed chair to cut rates because he's always late, but he could now change his image and quickly. Energy prices are down, interest rates are down, inflation is down, even eggs are down 69% and jobs are up, all within 2 months. And in all caps, he's saying cut interest rates, Jerome, and stop playing politics. On top of that, one thing that's pretty crazy here, super random, but Klaus Schwab is set to step down from the World Economic Forum after 55 years. So it goes back to this post right here saying that the silent war that was waged with military precision, digital warfare, and strategic deception is now over. And we're just seeing it play out in real time because all the world's a stage. So I understand why people are bearish in the short term on the crypto market because of just the volatility that this creates, not only for XRP, but every single altcoin, including the stock market. But when you truly understand the long-term plan here, it gives you every reason to be bullish. For example, U.S. Treasury Secretary is now saying this.
Unclear whether we were going to exempt gold from tariffs, which I believe we have. So there was a big move out of vaults in Switzerland, out of vaults in London to get it into New York. And look, that there are a lot of different stores of value over time. Bitcoin's becoming a store of value. Gold has historically been a store of value. I think what's interesting is where do we see the gold demand coming from? A huge amount is from China.
Yes.
Where they, as I said, they're in the middle of an economic recession/depression. People don't trust the Chinese currency because they have capital controls. There are 1.4 billion Chinese who all want to get their money out, and they won't let them, they will let them buy gold.
So Bitcoin has transitioned from being referred to as a speculative gamble to now being called a store of value. So while the U.S. Economic Policy Uncertainty Index pretty much hits an all-time high, well, Warren Buffett said it best: buy when others are fearful and sell when others are greedy. So if everyone's fearful right now, what does that mean we should do? Well, $3.25 trillion was wiped out from the U.S. stock market today. Meanwhile, $5.4 billion flowed into crypto. And so this is the picture right now on the charts with the S&P 500 index crashing, CFDs on gold, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Bitcoin, however, is sitting right at nearly $84,000, whereas the S&P 500 backtests this multi-year ascending support here. And if you guys look on the chart here, you can see all the way back to February 2023 when the S&P 500 pulled back from about 4,100 to 3,800. That was when Bitcoin made its first initial pump out of the bear market lows, pulled back from about $25,000 to $19,000 and bounced all the way up here to about $30,000+, pulled back to this trend line again while the stock market was breaking out from the 2022 lows. We saw this pullback right here, and we see these trend lines get respected as support. So this pullback in the S&P 500 was simply a pullback, although it was a drastic one, back to this ascending support since October of 2022. So while a lot of people are saying that the top for the stock market it is in my opinion, I do think we will see a bounce here in the short term for both the stock market and in crypto, because right now on the weekly stochastic RSI, the K line is at 2, the D line is at 2 for the S&P 500. So I'd expect there to be a bullish cross at some point and a short-term bounce, because we don't just go down forever after a really extremely bearish week. And as you guys can see on Bitcoin, we experienced a bullish cross below 20, but the K line is still at 15, the D line is at 12, so we have not confirmed this bullish cross until both of these lines pass above 20. And even with a bullish cross, we have to be extremely careful here, because as you guys can see back here, on the 24th of January, we experienced a bullish cross. And up until the 4th of April, when a bearish cross came in, this was the complacency stage recovery for Bitcoin on the bottom of the screen from about $33,000 to about $47,000. And while people thought the bull market was going to continue for that point, that was really just the last hurrah in the market to create a massive bull trap before FTX collapsed, Celsius, Voyager, and then we basically collapsed from $46,000 to $15,000 for Bitcoin. So we just have to be very careful here, because with this recovery in Bitcoin, we're going to watch very closely what happens with the stochastic RSI and also the price action on the chart and monitor the stock market. But I do think there will be a recovery in the short term. And what will determine Bitcoin breaking out to a new all-time high and a recovery to the stock market, either back to the previous high, past it, or just a recovery nonetheless, is the Fed cutting interest rates. Because on the CME Fed Watch tool here, we can see the next meeting is in 32 days and 16 hours on May 7th, and 70% are expecting the Fed to keep the rates current, going sideways flat for another meeting in a row. It isn't until the 18th of June, the meeting after this next one, where 63% are expecting, a 25 to 50 basis point rate cut. So by June 18th, the first rate cut is expected. But will the Federal Reserve act faster? And then by the 30th of July, 61% are expecting an even deeper rate cut. And then by September, 52% are expecting an even deeper rate cut. And then by October of 2025, only 0.1%, so that's 10% of 1% are expecting them to keep rates current at today's level. So by June, July, September, and October, we should see the Fed act and start making rate cuts. The challenge is, will they be late like they have been in the past, or will the Federal Reserve make a move right on time? Because they have been tightening on their balance sheet. This is the second thing that we're watching here. We're watching interest rates. We're also watching the Fed's balance sheet, because over the past year, the Fed has been tightening aggressively. And in Jerome Powell's last speech, I mentioned this in several videos, they're talking about slowing down on tightening, which is the first sign that eventually after they slow down, they're going to be adding to their balance sheet again while they are lowering interest rates. And then the third thing we need to keep our eyes on is M2 Global Liquidity Index, because there is a lag time or an offset from global liquidity breaking out in the crypto market. And going back to the 2nd of February, the lag time or the offset was not by much. It was maybe by the course of like 17, 18, 19, 20 days, where global liquidity peaked out here on like the 4th of February, and then the crypto market peaked out on the 21st of February, even made another high on the 18th of April, but that was in alignment with this double top here for global liquidity, along with the crypto market. We see the crypto market sell off, we see global liquidity retract, then we see this bounce right here, we see this bounce right here, pretty correlated all through July. we see this pullback in the crypto market, we see this pullback in global liquidity. Global liquidity breaks out, then goes sideways. The crypto market breaks out, then pulls back. Then global liquidity started to break out at the end of June all the way until the 30th of September, whereas it took until September for the crypto market really to start breaking out upwards of December. And so the offset is at least 65 days now from that breakout to the 30th of December, right here at the bottom of the screen for the M2 Global Liquidity Index in yellow. And that took a while to flow into the crypto market. And since the crypto market started pulling back, well, that could be mirroring this pullback right here for M2 Global Liquidity and this breakout from the 19th of January to where we're at now for global liquidity. We haven't seen that yet in the crypto market. So wouldn't it be interesting if right along schedule, while the total three, which is the crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum, every altcoin beneath Ethereum, XRP, and everything else, wouldn't it be interesting if it bounces off of this ascending support that it has been coming in contact with ever since the 4th of August, the 7th of September, and the 4th of November before the markets broke again to the upside? I would not be shocked the lightest bit. Now, it doesn't mean we can't experience flash crashes and these massive wicks like this one right here for the low on the 5th of August before the market worked its way through this range then broke out. We could see something like that. We could see a flash crash and this to get bought up. The markets work its way through here, then make a recovery along with global liquidity, and then the Fed decides to act in June and start lowering interest rates, because right now it's April, so we have April and May, and then until the 18th of June, so like 2.5 months until the markets are expecting a rate cut. So depending on what Jerome Powell says in the next meeting, if he doesn't mention anything about adding to their balance sheet, the next 30 days are expected to be very, very volatile. So I'm on edge right now for the crypto market. I'm not expecting anything crazy to the upside. I'm more so expecting like a washing machine of price action over the next 1 to 2 months. And then I am expecting a bounce here, though, to fall alongside with M2 global liquidity within the next few months. So that's why it's more important than ever before to lock in and pay attention to where that liquidity will be flowing to. And that's why we created Altcoin Pro University for you guys, to be able to properly educate you so you understand the crypto market better and you can know where to spot the opportunities when they arise. For example, our research team posted GOAT on the 13th of October of 2024 when it was right at a penny, and since then it rallied to over $1, 5,000%. That's like turning $1,000 into over $50,000. Our team called Pendle at only a $16 million market cap, or 16 cents, back on February 18th of 2023, all the way back here, and since then it's rallied up over 4,000%. That's a 40x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $40,000. Our team also called BitTensor Tau September 15th, 2022, before the token was ever even launched. And since then, Tau has rallied over 2,000%. That's a 20x. Our team even said Solana is most likely to be one of the easiest trades next year, and this was posted December 29th, 2022, on the day that Solana bottomed out at around $8. And since then, Solana looks like it's up over 2,500%. That's a 25x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $25,000. The list goes on and on and on. Our team called Sui, Ondo, and even some of the biggest cult-based meme coins like MOG back in July 20th of 2023, the day that MOG launched. So if you want to learn how our team is finding these altcoins before they explode, we just launched Altcoin Pro University, where our research team gives you real-time altcoin picks with explosive potential for this bull run, along with 100+ expert curated classes crafted by industry experts to discover these gems yourself, on top of our live weekly calls every single week for in-depth crypto market analysis and daily updates. And that's just a fraction of what we offer inside of Altcoin Pro University through the link below. And although we make no guarantees because crypto is definitely risky, guys, this is only $97 a month or $970 a year. If you want to save $194, getting 2 months for free and unlock some exclusive bonuses, just go through the link in the description below. Get in right now. Watch the 26-minute video covering everything that Altcoin Pro University offers to help you become the first millionaire in your family tree, if that's a goal of yours. And you can get started through the link in the description below right now, or you can go to bullrunners.com to take advantage of the bonuses we're giving you before they expire. Everyone is loving the community. They're loving the education. They're getting access to real-time altcoin picks first before we ever make videos about them. So click the link in the description below, watch the video, and I'll see you on the inside.